Let's go.
Welcome back to another Supercoach Insider podcast. My name is Swizz. We're here Friday night discussions about Supercoach and everything that is happening with your teams, answering your questions. And we have Joe from Centre Bounce joining us. How are you, Joe?
I am doing very well, thank you. And especially now that I can be heard, my voice, I will not be silenced, god damn it, Swizz.
We are fingers crossed. Hopefully people jump back on the chat and let us know that they can hear you. That we think we've solved all our problems. We've got to love technology. It's great when it works, and then sometimes it just decides to fail. But we think we are up and running this time, so we will find out very quickly from our viewers. If not, because we do not want to silence you, we need to hear all the great things you can add to us, Joe. But
Mate, you're an absolute superstar.
before I get into all of that, as always, I've got to give our plugs and that. Thank you to our ongoing support of all our community, in particular our sponsor, Splash Vodka. Continue to check them out and support them like they do us each and every week. And check us out on all our social media platforms, Twitter, Supercoach Insider 100 or Swizz26. And then we've got Spotify, SoundCloud, YouTube, TikTok, all that good stuff. And the boys at Centre Bounce. Where can they find you, Joe?
Mate, you guys can find us on YouTube. We're called The Centre Bounce, or you can hit us up on Twitter at bounce_center, or you can hit me up directly as well on Twitter at shabby with a C _JOE.
Fantastic, mate. Beautiful. So, mate, how's your team looking before we get into everything? What you thinking for Friday night?
My thinking for Friday night is I got to get as many playing rookies as possible, especially with all of the carnage out there. Make sure my cash gen is looking good so that I can flip these people during the buys. I'm getting Humphrey in this week. Yes, I'm paying up 70 grand for him, but I think his job security is good. He's got the role. He's a contested ball, and he's playing in the perfect place for that game style. Up in Cairns, slippery, dewy, terrible conditions, repeat stoppages, tackles. I'm looking forward to having him during the buys, making us some money, and then hopefully being able to get back Clayton Oliver.
Aren't we all? Yeah, Oliver has left my side, and I've decided on Sicily. And
Yep.
Ollie Wine, especially with the news that Boak is out, so he is definitely coming to my side.
Oh, yeah, that is huge. No Boak. Oh, my God. That just does so much wonders for him. He's already been on the rise recently. He's been getting some more CBAs, coming back from his injury. And without Boak, I mean, Boak's CBAs weren't astronomically through the roof. If I recall, they're playing him a bit more forward these days. They're giving a lot more responsibility to Butters, to Rosie, to Wines. It seems like they're really having that next generation come in.
Oh, exactly. And that's, it's not affecting it too much, but still, that's just another person that does get to go in there. They do need to change that. And they already had quite a few players, as you said, Butters and Rosie, but William Drew, Horn Francis, but yeah, Boak. It's just that extra. It might even only be 5, 6, 7, but that's 5, 6, 7 that's now going to someone else, and hopefully that goes to Ollie. So that's kind of the thinking on that. So we will see how that plays out for me for the next sort of 3 or 4 weeks. But yeah, Richmond and Hawthorn, you couldn't get a better draw for Ollie.
That's exactly right. It's also pretty nerve-wracking, though, when you're trading in someone for that round 15 buy. I personally have a lot of people who's already in that buy, so I'm a bit nervous trying to go down that route myself. But you seem to have your buy structure pretty good, I think.
Everything about round 15 that will hopefully sort itself out as we go on. So, yeah, we'll just see how that all plays out in the next few weeks. But, yes, that's definitely something, a bit of a work in progress. We've got HTC asking, what are your thoughts on Bont? Not Bont, on who we got there, Doherty.
Oh, Doherty, far out. Where was this earlier in the year? You know what I mean? Like when I started you. Like, come on, Doc. It hurts my feelings. I don't know. It seems like he's playing not too dissimilar a role that he had before he got injured. It just seems to be that he's getting a lot more of the pill compared to earlier on, and he's pushing higher up the ground a bit more. So, I mean, he's got that round 15 bye. I keep all these people that I want to trade in, they all have that terrible buy. I still think I think he's a wait and see, to be honest. Still, who knows when Sard pops off again and starts eating into his scoring.
Yeah, I had him as one of the top defenders. I still think he's a great option and that, but there's just a few others now. As I said, like I'm really happy with my defence, and we've got Sinclair, Sicily, Stewart, Dacos, Dawson. So there's only really one more spot there, and a lot of us have Zeeble anyway. So it's it's kind of, do we actually need to go him, or if other people go in that cheaper option? But yeah, I know if you don't have the cash to get up to say a Stewart, I think Doherty's a fine option, but it does come with risks.
Yeah, it does. Someone who's coming off an injury again. It's who knows? He's playing for Voss. A lot of pressure on that Carlton team. Who knows if he starts messing around with the magnets to try and get some wins on the board.
I always like this when people start answering their own questions, or other people answer their questions in the chat. But we did ask about thoughts on Sarong. Is it a bit of a buyer's risk there? And we did have a venture pram go. He thinks Harms might go to him around stoppages. I still think Sarong's looking pretty good, but so I think it's really him and Brayshaw continue to do pretty well for them. But it's just, I guess, the thing where there's been other guys that are more trusting premiums, your Neils, even Steels, and that, because they've done it before, and maybe the thought that Sarong at some point might become a little tired out as the season goes out. I don't know how you feel there, Joe.
I sort of, I agree with you. It's picking the breakout is always fairly nerve-wracking, and unfortunately I did that with one too many mid-prices this year to start my team. I can understand why a lot of people, they might think that they've seen enough body of work from Sarong over the course of the year, and I'm not going to say no. I certainly think he's shown that he is an absolute quality caliber, high caliber player who's got a great super coach friendly role, but can he sustain it for a whole year? You know what I mean? Like that was probably one of the big questions that was on Tom Green at the start of the year as well. Is this guy going to be able to keep it up all year? And he wasn't able to. So, the jury's out if we see something similar with Sarong, right?
Exactly. And we've seen that also of Anderson, like everyone bringing him thinking he's the next big thing, and he might be the next big thing in the next couple of years, but there are still questions of these guys who, before they take over, you're going to get up and down scores, and they are going to tie because it's the first time that they're really the number one midfielder, and then they're getting to every contest, more load on them, they're getting more attention. It's just the way it goes. What do we got there? Jackson Lewis, is it smart to use all the cash left for Sicily and I've lost him there, Sicily and Wines, getting rid of Oliver and Wilmot?
Wilmot's still got a pretty decent break even, I'm pretty sure. Wilmot's break even's only at 15.
Yep.
So he's definitely got money left to make. He seems to, again, have that solid job security. But with Rich back in the team, could it push him out to a wing where he's going to score probably back to his 60s? Whereas playing that back pocket role, he was scoring 80s. He's managed to score a couple of 80s. So look, if you think, you got Wilmot got his bye next week, and you're looking to cash him out before he misses for you next week anyway, I'm not against it personally, but I'm probably going to be hoping on him to be playing around during the buys, especially because around 14 I've got half my back line out.
Yeah, I think like my wife, I think she traded out Wilmot to get in McRae, and I feel like it was another premium. It might have been Sinclair. So I can understand if people are using it to get two premiums in and they need that extra cash. Definitely got no problems with that. Fabian's gone. I've got one for you, Swizzle. Thanks, mate. What about getting Wardlaw in to cover Oliver for a couple of weeks? Yeah, Wardlaw can definitely score 80s during this period.
Yep.
And if you want to hold Clary, I can definitely understand that. So you're not losing too much out. So, yeah, no, I don't mind that at all, mate.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. Wardlaw, he's a gun. He's a champion
Kid is a
player. He's going to be something special. He's a diehard Bomber fan, so I hope we can somehow manage to lure him across the outside very soon. But he's playing a very super coach friendly role, very contested, very strong. He copped that hit and continued playing. His big issue was his soft tissue concerns. He's got a lot of hammy problems in the past. There is a question: will they manage him throughout the season? But I've spoken to a North Melbourne supporter mate at work, and he said, no, they deliberately built him slowly to get to this point so that he can play out the rest of the year. So I think getting Wardlaw in is terrific. I can't wait to get him in next week.
Yeah, I'm the same. It works better for me to get him next week. Wilmot down to him. We've got better to get in Sicily or Neil this week. Your thoughts there, mate?
Or Sicily, man, a lot of people are scoring big, especially the defenders are scoring big against St Kilda. The question is it because a lot of them are taking kick-ins because St Kilda are really stuck in front of goal? And Sicily probably won't get many of them. But look, I like Sicily personally. I think Sicily is my selection for this week. Yourself?
Yeah, I'm getting Sicily in this week, and the reason for it is Neil's got his bye the week after, so I can effectively wait. I'm not getting any score from him next week, where Sicily is playing next week. So yeah, if I've got the choice, it's Sicily.
Yeah, for sure.
A couple ones that we did miss, and that they might have actually. We've got. What are your thoughts here? Because this is a big question for everyone. Hold or trade Oliver?
I'm trading Oliver out. I think it's possible to get him back in. I don't think it's a foregone conclusion that you're never going to get him back again. His break even from memory is like 138 anyway. So, yeah, it is exactly 138. They just pulled it up now. So he's 658k. He could, if they're working back, take him slow. He's going to miss some games. I don't think they're going to rush him. Why would they rush such an important player for them? They're back in their system. They've got other experienced midfielders who can come in, and that's a lot of money sitting on the bench for who's most likely to lose some money in his first game back. I'm thinking maybe it might be a Will Day flip to him, in maybe around 16 or so.
Yeah, yeah, there might be a chance of getting Oliver later in the year, but I agree definitely. The worst thing would be now. It's a great scenario if you hold him and he comes back after a couple of weeks. Awesome, well done. But if this stretches to 5-6 weeks, and everyone's full premium, and you're trying to scramble for rookies on field after the bye scenario, it's going to be an absolute nightmare for those teams. So I'm just cutting my losses now. Any long-term injury that I'm hearing 4 weeks, and that straight away for me, I'm like, no, out the door. And I know it's buys, and I know we can cover because it's only best 18, but still, that's just so much cash. And I was already in the position where I was thinking, do I downgrade one of my highest premiums to try to turn them into 2 primos? Now, I know Wines isn't full primo, but it's still, Oliver to Sicily isn't that many points different to what they're probably going to average when Sicily especially gets on a roll. So now I've turned a rookie because of that cash into Wines, who hopefully should go at least 105. So it's a much better situation. And as I said, somebody earlier who my partner who's trading for McRae and Sinclair, straight away, Oliver's turned into 2 premiums for her. So, yeah, that's where people are trying to get the leg up during this stage.
100%. That's why there's people talking about maybe trading out Bontempelli the other week when he hit 700k. People who are like, look, he's not gonna stay at this price. He's gonna drop in price, and they have really bad bench cover with very bad cash gen. They were thinking maybe it might be a wise idea to cash in Bontempelli and make 2 premiums out of him. So it's all about having a full primo team as quickly as you can, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I was considering that exact same thing. Does he get the moved on? Just because of that reason. Layden goes, I can hold Oliver and still upgrade Ryan and Day to Sicily and Neil. Should I do it or trade Oliver and Ryan to Laird and Merritt? That's an interesting one. So he's saying, should I get Sicily or Neil, or should I go out and look at the 2 big midfielders, Laird and Merritt? Personally, for me, I think Laird and Merritt are 1 and 2 on my list. I like them. So I think that's Fev or Fev. Wines, Bailey Dell or Wardlaw. It's always some of these gets hard because I don't know like buy structure and stuff like that. But
Yeah, exactly.
I think Warlord you can definitely wait till next week. Everyone's going to get him at some point anyway, but I think he's going to become a must-have. But if you had a choice to choose between Wines or Bailey Dell, which was exactly my choice today, which way do you prefer, Joe?
I like Wines more than Dale. And I don't think buy structure really matters with these three because they all share the same buy. They all got the round 15 buy. So if I'd always back in the midfielder who can win contested ball as opposed to a player who plays for Magneto
Yes.
who could see Caleb Daniel go into the back line as
Oh no,
well.
and
And that
that's
could
the
just
thing. I don't trust Magneto at all. At least Port, you know what the plan's been the whole time. We've got trade Oliver to Sicily, which gives me enough cash to go Ashcroft straight up to Sarong after his buy. Is that the right move?
I it's not too bad
It's
actually.
not too bad. There's a
But
big part of
Ashcroft
me
is
like I think could you go someone cheaper and hold Ashcroft
mm,
through the buys? Like it all depends on how Ashcroft goes this week. If he pumps out anywhere near another 100, I think you look at alternatives, and that's where for like us it's like Will Monson and stuff like that. Who you can probably maybe get up to say a Jack Steele, maybe even a Neil and that because Sarong's obviously a bit more expensive. So the longer you can hold on to Ashcroft, the better. But if Ashcroft does stink it up next week, well, then it obviously makes sense.
correct. Plus he'll be in his buy and then you can cash him in. Absolutely. So yeah. It's a wait and see. He's got Adelaide in Adelaide Oval. If he can perform there against a tough matchup, man, he's a gun player, this kid.
Yeah, exactly. Heath's gone. Thoughts on out Oliver, Ryan, and Chincotta for Sicily, a Brayshaw, Neil, and a Ford on the bench. So he's practically trading out Chincotta and Ryan. One of them's traded out for Ford, so that's fine. But then, yeah, you're bringing Oliver and one of those other rookies for a Sicily or Brayshaw, Neil. Is there any way preference out of those three?
He's definitely going to get Sicily for Oliver. He's probably getting a Chincotta down to a Ford, which then opens up either Brayshaw or Neil. Brayshaw or Neil. Look, I probably trust Neil more because Brayshaw has had a really tough start to the year. He was playing injured. Who knows if that injury will resurface? I find it hard to believe that someone can heal up during the course of the year whilst playing. But he scored an 88 against Sydney just the week before last. So look, he's certainly prone to dropping some stinker scores. I think I prefer Neil over Brayshaw. He's more contested. Brayshaw's more outside, and he could still cop a tag. So I think I like Neil more. What about you?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Neil. Like, we know what he can do. His ceiling is huge. And second half of the year, like the Lions, they're going to keep trying to fight for that top two spot, which will really set them up for the flag. So I think he's really good. Frankie's next one, what to do with Noah Anderson. I'm big on keeping him because, as you said, handy for the buys. He is a massive point of difference through the three buys. Yes, it's a high break even. A lot of people, you got to try to think of Noah Anderson as a primo that you're not trying to trade out, and just hope that he actually turns it around. So yeah, that would be my thoughts on it. You, Joe?
I agree wholeheartedly. I agree. At this point of the year, he's playing, he's fit, he's got a good buy. You got to back him in. You traded him in for a reason. It's because you know he's capable of going big, and that big score came out of the blue. You never know. You can have a big score again, and you'd be kicking yourself if you traded him out.
100% will happen too. Those who trade out Anderson, and he'll come out and probably score like a 150 this week or something, and he'll be like, "Why?
Yeah.
Hate my life, hate my super coach life, delete my team."
Exactly. Don't live with that regret, guys.
Yeah. Is saving a mid spot for Mills around 430 a good option? I'll let you start with this one, mate.
Mate, I love Callum Mills more than the next Joe. Honestly, Callum Mills. I had him last year. He's such a gun, honestly, and he had so many scores where he was on track for a massive like 140, but he would always be put back behind the ball, playing that goalkeeper position that would have seen a 140 end up being like a 105 or a 110. Look, I love Mills. Would I leave a spot for him? Look, maybe not deliberately. Just make sure that it's all about making sure that your team has no weaknesses on it. As long as you have no liabilities on the field, he could be great as someone that you bring in as an M9, perhaps even at 471k. I'm not entirely sure when he's supposed to come back. Do we know when he's coming back again?
Apparently, it's 3 to 4. So he's the one that I'm really hoping comes back for. Well, in a perfect world, we want him to come back around 14. So he drops another 40k so we can pick him up at 420, 430. So he's the one I'm definitely, and that's why I was talking about on my team pod today. Do I need that extra 100k by going Bailey Dell instead of Sicily? And I've gone, no, I'll go Sicily because I know I can pretty well perfect world side swap Ashcroft to Mills for the run home.
Yes, so good.
Yeah, and as an M8, Mills, awesome. Yeah, just
100%.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, so yes, good idea. Well done, Legend 24. You're a star, mate.
Yeah, great name too.
I know, right?
That's awesome.
Legend.
There was one earlier I missed out about. I think it was Darcy Cameron. Somebody asked, and I think it was Cliff.
Yes.
Yeah, Cliff was saying, because it suits me so well for the buys, would you bring in Darcy Cameron this round? I've got no problems with that. I can understand, especially that was the one I wanted to do, but because of the fact that he could have been sub and then he didn't actually score as well. But I like it as ruck cover as well, so I can understand why people would want to do that. But now maybe I'll wait for Gawn. It's just that'll be a toss of the coin for me going forward. Your thoughts there?
He was in my side last week. 100%. I traded him in. It was locked and loaded. And then thank God for Craig McRae being so forthright with his information. Thank you. Avoided that 60 odd score. His break even now is 134. So even now he's still not unattainable if you want to wait a week on him. But yeah, 100%. I think he's a top 6 to 8 forward when he's up and running. He doesn't seem to be up and running just yet, but I do like him. I think I might have him in later in the year if we're strapped for cash and don't have enough money to. And if Gawn, for example, doesn't get forward status and he's stuck for me in the ruck line, that would be very tragic.
Yep, no, exactly. I'm just having a discussion off air about vice captains. I'm actually thinking, a couple of people actually just asked me questions who aren't listening. I'm telling them, get on the pod and ask your questions and that. But a couple of people setting up their forward line for McRae, thinking that he will get forward status, which I like. It's a shame for everyone I've talked into Walsh because we're really needing Vossi to look after us this week to do that. I'm actually making a very last minute vice captain swap here. I'm going to put the vice captain on Goulden too. So I'm taking him off Marshall and a little bit of a last second swap there. So
why? What's caused this change, Swizz?
I was just actually looking through, and a couple of people were talking to me about this, about Reeves, how good he's been as a negating ruck all year. I think he's only let one score go over 100, and apparently some news has come out. Sam Mitchell has said they will give some attention to Sinclair. So they were my two options this week. So I'm going to back in Goulden to rebound. Zachy Merritt's my captain anyway, so in a perfect world I would have gone VC Merritt, but I don't have the loophole on the Sunday, so I can get then Laird as the backup. So that's the thing. And
I'm in the same situation.
Legends just said the same thing about Tuke Miller. Hopefully he drops when he comes back. The only problem with Tuke, we've actually heard no information about him at all. It's just
exactly.
So who knows when he's coming back?
Well, Tuke said he's aiming for the last 4 or 5 games of the year, right? So that's ridiculous. Such a prodigious talent for him to be hit with this injury, and for all those people who traded him in that week and had him captain. I really feel bad for you. My VC this week is Stewart playing at home against the Giants. I don't know. I feel like he's going to have a big game to bounce back. He had a poor one last week. I reckon he's going to go huge. He loves playing in Geelong. I'm doing Stewart into Merritt. I was going to go Sicily, but I'm just thinking, you know what? He might have his hands full against that against that St Kilda forward line that has Membry and King. King can clunk you can clunk everything that comes near him. So I'm worried about, I know he's playing third tall, but if things start to go wrong, he's the first one that gets his role changed, I think, as the skipper.
TJ Cooper's apparently 7th best team at the moment. I was trying to look up his team. He's going Marshall and Merritt. Yeah, my eyes, I said, the only thing was, as people going through it, was going through Reeves and Meek against like Marshall. He should score pretty well, but yeah, that sort of worries me. There are it's a bit like Stanley against Geelong. He does such a great job negating other rucks. Pittenet's a bit the same as well. So there's a few rucks there that don't actually give up a lot of points. So yeah, found your team there, Roger. With actually, Matt, that looks pretty solid in that. And I think you said Marshall. Be interesting, Roger. What are you doing with Clary there? I'm gathering you're trading to keep your rank up high, especially if you're the 7th best team. But yeah, actually, your team looks very similar to mine outside of probably Petrarca and Stewart. It's about the only 2 differences we've got there. Thoughts on VC for Walsh tonight? Yeah, if that's your only option for tonight's game, why not? I think Walsh is more probably just your standard 115, 120 guy. I think you can probably go better VCs, but yeah, there's an opportunity there. Especially if he's got plenty of midfield time, that we know he can go big. But I feel like that's what Walsh is now. He's just a flat 120.
Yeah, he is. He absolutely is. How did Carlton fare against wingers? Because that's what Goulden's playing more often. He's playing more winger.
Yeah, well, Akers kind of runs just the one way. He's more an attacking winger, so I feel like Goulden will get some midfield time, but in the centre tonight because still without Mills, he's still probably the go-to option. So I'm just going to back him in for a big game. Kev, good cricket man. Thoughts on VC for Gawn? My worry is it's Sean Darcy.
Whoa.
That's left field. He's such a good ruck, Darcy. He's probably the best ruck in the comp. So I don't know if I like that so much. Freo are up and about as well. So yeah,
they are in a rich run of form. He's going to be up against the Sean Darcy, Luke Jackson combination. Plus, it's hard to go VC on Gawn when he's sharing so much ruck time with Grundy. He's just you're going to need for him to take quite a few intercept marks as well as maybe kick a couple of goals in a win. I don't know. I find it hard to go anywhere near Gawny. As much as I love him, he's unreliable with the scoring as long as with Grundy around.
Yeah, he's going to have big games, especially when he can get back there in defence. But there's definitely other games where, yeah, it does worry me. I think he plays more ruck time tomorrow because it is Darcy, and I think Gawn will go in when Jackson goes in, which is going to maybe worry a few people who have Gawn because, yeah, you really need him to get 35% time forward tomorrow to make sure he keeps it because he is right on the bubble there.
He's right on. I'm terrified, man. I'm sweating bullets here.
That's right, exactly. And Cooper says, yeah, you can't have both in your team. I don't mind still Gawn because there's games where he still can average enough. I don't think he can have Grundy. That he's definitely not an option at all. But yeah, no, I understand where Cooper's coming from there. Peter's gone Stewart and Ford or Sinclair and Wardlaw.
Look, Stewart's got a fairly high break even, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. It's like 129, which he could smash down there. But I think you just get Wardlaw. Well, you're going to want Wardlaw anyway. Ford, we don't know enough about. I would rather get another week's information. So I'm leaning towards Sinclair and Wardlaw. Sinclair's been smashing games at Marvel. His average is unreal there. It's 99 is his lowest score.
But he might get attention, though, this week, as flagged by Mitchell.
Kev, we're playing at Tatterson. Bring your white pants, mate. I've got a blue shirt for you. And that might able to get you on. And that. It's yeah, we do have winter cricket tomorrow. I think we may need still one player. So Kev's a good cricket man. Love him. Yeah, Cooper's gone Ford and Wardlaw too early. Wardlaw is definitely not too early. This kid is an absolute superstar. Ford, yes. Correct. I can understand people jumping on Ford because they need the option for the cheaper. And a few people that's where we were talking before about if it meant turning Oliver into 2 premiums and you're wanting to use your boost. yeah, definitely a situation there. So I can understand why. But yeah, Wardlaw, he's going to be in everyone's team next week. Well, he should be in
Oh,
everyone's team next week, bar an injury.
guaranteed, 100%. 100%. The guy is an absolute jet. I was really hoping that North Melbourne would pass on him because of his hammy concerns, and that they would go for like a Sardis, for example, and get the combination of the Sardis and Shazel combination because they played together. So unfortunately, they didn't pass on Wardlaw, and it is what it is. I'm still happy with Sardis. He's going to play VFL next week.
I was really annoyed because of a couple of keeper leagues I was in. I think I'd like pick 8, and I was sweet because like Wardlaw and every one of them got through to pick 7 because everyone's like, oh, this kid's injured and stuff. I'm like, just fall to me like so far back. And like, I end up taking, I think I took Sardis in one, Philippou in another, and Jimby in another. So I was still happy with the option still there. But if I was getting Wardlaw at pick 8, I was just in keeper leagues. It was taking the mickey.
100%.
Yeah, exactly. We'll take a couple last ones because I know the footy's kicked off and everyone's probably starting to tune in to that as well.
Yeah.
Nothing's really happened so far. The Blues are
nothing's really happening,
which is good.
Who's on the kick in? Oh no, the Blues kick the coin, and there's the Swans kick a goal. McInerney with the first goal for the Swans.
I love how my Foxtel coverage is just there. It is McInerney, and I think I just put him in one of my draft sides. So he's on my bench. I was like,
of course you did.
I'm going to put McInerney on field today. I just had a feeling like Friday night game, get on my field, McInerney, have a big one. That's good.
He's an underrated player. He flies under the radar a bit.
Yeah, he is. Especially once Dawson left, it did open up a more stable role for him.
Yes, it did. I know. Was it the Phantom who was big on him in the preseason? I think he was the Phantom's boy. I'm not sure if the Phantom actually brought him in or not, but yeah, not a. What's Goulden on? Let's see. Errol is on 4 points.
Yeah, good start
already.
We need that flying.
Good start.
Phantom's a good lad. I've had beers with the Phantom. He's one of the few people who actually know who he is. So he's a good laugh. Good. He came over here he's based in South Australia and came over here and we caught up and had a good chat. So loves his super coach. Good lad.
Of course, everybody knows Swizz, and Swizz knows everybody.
Yeah, see, we're more open. You and I, yeah, we're a bit more open, but I know Abdul doesn't like it because he's tried to do a little bit of the Phantom thing and not let people know who he is, but everybody still knows Abs, which
everybody knows Abs.
Instead of going with the super coach Godfather there, mate. But it's and we talked about for those who are listening with us, it's and we'll put out details this week, but we are definitely catching up. So more than happy to have people come down and see us. We'll work out what pub we'll go to for a pre-game feed or something, and then we'll go on and watch the game.
100%. That is next Sunday, the Essendon v North game, guys, over at Marvel Stadium on the Sunday. So it will be, mate, I can't wait. I can't wait for a Mason Redmond 147.
Oh, mate, I'll be pumping that day. That'd be awesome. I'll sit back and watch footy with you boys. It's good fun. All right, we'll take one last question here, Layden. Do you prefer Sicily and Neil in this week or go Merritt and Steele? It's like, which kid do you like best?
I know, right?
I love these questions because it's just like, is there a wrong answer? And you know that the problem is when you get asked these questions and you know the one you choose is going to be the other one's going more off.
Exactly. I was about to pull out a coin. Swizz, heads or tails? What's the call?
Oh, mate, I pick heads and I never win a coin toss. Do I win one for once?
It's a heads.
Oh my god!
You got the heads.
I'm literally like, so cricket will always do the toss as the captain. And I think I'm sitting about 1 out of 22 out of my last 22. I go, why do we even toss? And the opposition captain's like, well, we need to put something in the book. I just I lose because I don't win coin tosses.
Just put tails. That's it. Just put a T right there. That's all you need to do. Nothing much.
As the blue baggers get one back. No, it's all good. Once again, apologies for the delay, guys, and that we had a couple audio issues and that, which looked like my program's fault. So we managed to rectify that, but it was actually good to get Joe on, have a chat. So what we try to do weekly, and that I know the boys. I think, do you guys record Monday and Thursday? Is that usually your plan?
Yeah, so we're on Monday nights and Thursday nights, and I know a lot of people They've been saying it, and you've told us we're like the new SEN. They don't listen to them anymore. Yeah. They jump on our streams, and then we end, and then they go into your streams. It's a beautiful thing.
Well, now that we know this works, Joe and I can have a get together again, and we'll have some chats
for
on
sure.
here. And I've already got a special guest trying to line himself up for next Friday as well. So thank you to that person who reached out, but we'll get into that later. But yeah, so especially Thursdays, unfortunately I haven't been available last Thursday, maybe not next Thursday, but I know the Centre Bounce boys are doing some awesome work when the teams drop, and then we're trying to kick off with myself after that, and just more team Q&As. But yeah, no, you guys are doing awesome over there, and it's good, the love in the Supercoach community these days.
Oh, 100%. Thank you so much for having us on. We love having you on our channel every opportunity we can get. It's really good for me to come on to here as well, change it up a little bit. Thank you so much for having me, man. Guys, obviously you're all here. You've all subscribed to Supercoach Insiders. You're absolute superstars. And if you haven't, we're the Centre Bounce, myself and Big J. We also just a couple of guys talking smack, talking Supercoach. And